With the Premier League starting in literally less than a week now, I thought, you know what? Let's predict the Premier League again. If you didn't see how I did last year, I did actually pretty well. I did better than a lot of your favorite YouTubers like Spencer FC, Mini Minter, anyone you know. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but I did definitely do better than Spencer FC, Mini Minter. I know that for a fact. But I'm going to go through each team from 20 to 1 to give my reasoning as to why I think that team will be in this position that they're in. And yeah, just have a talk and then look back at the end of the season and see how good or bad my predictions were. Let me know your predictions, who's going to win, who's going to get relegated, who's making Champions League. Let me know everything. Your hot takes as well for the season, like top goal scorer. I'm not going to do that in this video, but I will be doing that on my new podcast channel. Now, if you know anything about this channel, I actually did have a podcast a little while ago called Drink Dive. It's still on YouTube. You can still see all the episodes. It's great. I love doing that. So I'm doing another one with some of the boys from the Wrestling Predictions videos. Nathan, Steph, and Mark, we're making a podcast called Empire. So that first episode, which is going to be our Premier League predictions there. So you'll see these predictions for me over on that channel as well. But more so, I get to have an argument with the boys about their thoughts on it. And then top goal scorer, clean sheets, whatever. Stuff like that. But let's just hurry up and get into it. Like and subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you over on that Empire channel. Empire is spelled MPYR. We'll see you there. But let's just get into it with number 20. And I'm sorry, someone has to get relegated each season. And I'm going number 20 being Southampton. I don't know why. I think the signings of Adam Lallana and Flynn Downs, for example, and Brereton Diaz as well, they're not going to keep you up. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Someone has to go down, and that's who I'm picking to go down. Well, I say go down, but go down in last. Because 19th is Ipswich Town. Now, I'm not doing a thing where I predict one of these newly promoted clubs to finish like 12th. Because I did that last year with Burnley, and look how that went. They finished second last. I just realised I have to move a bit more over so you can see the table on this side. But yeah, Ipswich, the only reasons why I have them above Southampton is because I think the signings of Amari Hutchinson, Ben Johnson, and Liam Delap will be better than anything Southampton's done. Plus, I prefer Kieran McKenna as a coach to whoever Southampton have as a coach. I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. But yeah, Ipswich 19th, though. They're going down. Next up in 18th, and the final relegated club. This might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm going with Nottingham Forest. I just don't like Nuno Espirito as a manager. I also think that their business that they've done this year, the only notable signing looks to be Elliot Anderson from Newcastle, and even so, he's not going to keep them up, in my opinion. Sure, they still have players like Elanya, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White. I just have a feeling, for some reason, they're going down. It's probably stupid of me to say, we'll have to wait till the end of the season. That's just who I've got going down. I don't know why. Because in 17th, I have Leicester. Why? I don't know. Sure, they got rid of Kieran Dewsbury Hall to Chelsea, which, is a big loss for them in their midfield. But even so, I just have a feeling that they're going to stay up. I feel like Steve Cooper's going to do a fine job to keep them up. And also, I just prefer Leicester to Nottingham Forest. So that's why they're above them. But Dick Cordova-Reid as well, and Caleb Okoli are decent signings for him. So, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for them to stay up. But yeah, I just, for some reason, just have a feeling that Forest are going to go down unless they're going to stay up. I don't know. I think it's Forest's time to finally go down. In 16th, I have Wolves. I just don't think that their transfer business that they've done this year has been substantial. They still have a very good squad. I'm surprised Pedro Neto hasn't actually left the team, which is part of the reason why they're 16th. But, losing Max Kilman is a big loss to their defense, especially him going to West Ham. I just have a feeling they're going to finish in 16th under Gary O'Neill. And in 15th, I have Fulham. Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan, so seeing Smith Rowe go does hurt, especially because he was one of my favourite players. But is that the reason why they're going to stay up? No. I just think that their squad is very good. Obviously, losing Palhinha is a big loss. Tosin Adarabioyo as well, who didn't re-sign, is a big loss. And obviously, losing De Cordova-Reid to Leicester. I do think that their team is definitely good enough to stay up, which is why I have them in 15th. I think there's going to be a bit of a drop-off compared to last season, though. Next up in 14th, I've got Everton. I think they're just slowly getting better. They finished 15th last season. I think 16th season before. But I do think that they are slowly getting better. They kept a hold of Jared Branthwaite, which I thought was a big possibility of leaving in this transfer window. But for now, anyway, I'm recording this on the 7th of August. He could still leave by the end of this window, but I think he will stay. And if he does stay, I think they will be comfortable mid-table. Keeping Pickford as well, even though no one's really looking for him. But Pickford's a great goalkeeper, and I don't know why a big club hasn't gone to try and sign him. Bringing Jack Harrison back in on loan, like they did last season, I think is good. Bringing in Jasper Lindstrom as well is also decent for their midfield, especially after losing Amadou Onana to Aston Villa. Ben Godfrey as well, I think, is a big loss for them in defence. I feel like he's going to do really well at Atalanta. But yeah, I think they're just going to stay up comfortably. And in 13th, I have Crystal Palace. How will they perform in a full season under Oliver Glasner? I think they're going to be a little bit worse off. Reason being is that they have lost Elise. That's the big loss for this team. I don't know if there's any way to replace that big of a loss for this team, especially because of how him and Eze did work together. Ismaili Sarr they have brought in from Marseille, who is, I guess, his replacement, but it's not going to be as good. As well as getting Daichi Kamada from Lazio with that whole fiasco that was going on with him. I just think this squad is decent enough to finish mid-table. A bit of a drop-off from last season where they finished 10th. Mark Guehi as well, who I'm surprised is at Crystal Palace still and didn't go sign for Chelsea. But they signed Adarabioyo instead. But yeah, Mateta's still there. Obviously Eze is still there. Big season from Eze, who's going to be by himself. I just think this team is just good enough to finish mid-table and finish in 13th. In 12th, this is probably my bold prediction. I've got Bournemouth. Now, why do I say bold prediction? They finished 12th last year, right? But a lot of people will probably argue Fulham have a better squad. Everton, Palace, they might have a better squad. Even Wolves might have a better squad than them. I just really, really like Iraola, their manager, for some reason. I feel like he is a phenomenal manager that will get a bigger move to a bigger club in the future. Bringing in Sinistera from Leeds, Ines Unal from Getafe as well is a big one. Losing Lloyd Kelly as well, I don't think is a good bit of business for them. But I like their team. They kept Solanke. So that's another season of Solanke that they've got. And I think this team's just going to get better. But they still will finish 12th. But that's just, I like Iraola as a manager. And I'm going to put them in 12th. You can't really tell me otherwise because it's a prediction. You can't say I'm wrong until the end of the season. I have Brentford in 11th. Now, the big one at the moment, because I'm once again filming this on the 7th of August, Ivan Toney hasn't left. So they're going to have a full season of Ivan Toney again. The big loss is obviously going to be David Raya going officially on a move to Arsenal. But I feel like Thomas Frank and his team, especially back with a full season of Ivan Toney, 11th is definitely an improvement for them, especially finishing 16th last season. And Mbeumo is going to have a big season. Wissa as well with Ivan Toney. That front three, I think, is going to do really well for them. None of their signings, maybe Igor, Thiago, none of their signings are really standing out to me. But, I'm just predicting them to finish 11th. In 10th, I have Brighton. Now, you can probably argue that they might finish lower because they've lost De Zerbi. And you could be right with that. And to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, you're probably right with that. But I don't know why. I just have a good feeling that this Brighton team is going to finish dead mid-table, pick up a couple big wins maybe against the likes of Man United or Villa or Tottenham. Get a good wins like that. I feel like Evan Ferguson's due for a very, very big season. And overall, their business hasn't been too bad, bringing in Minter from Newcastle, which I think is a big signing for them. But obviously losing Pascal Gross to Borussia Dortmund will be a big loss for their midfield, especially because he is, a club legend. Brighton to finish 10th, in my opinion. We'll see how Fabian Hürzeler the youngest manager in the Premier League, will go in his first season. Hopefully he does well for him. But in ninth, I've got West Ham. They did finish ninth last year. So, I mean, it's like bang average for them. But I have a feeling they're going to cause a couple upset victories this season. And you know what? You could even push them up to seventh, in my opinion, with the signings that they have made. You know, signing Somerville from Leeds. Signing Nicholas Füllkrug from Borussia Dortmund. Signing Max Kilman from Wolves, a rival. And signing Guido Rodriguez on a free transfer. I think that is a very, very good bit of business for Lopetegui in his first season as a West Ham manager. Obviously, getting rid of David Moyes after the end of last season. They still have players like Ward-Prowse, like Paqueta, like Kudus, you know, like Edson Alvarez, Jared Bowen, Souček. You know, they have made a lot of good signings this window. So I actually might, well, I can't now because I've said it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish it in the top 7. I wouldn't be surprised. So I hope they do because West Ham, you know, Irons. But yeah, that's why I've got them in 9th. In 8th, I've got Newcastle. Now, for some reason, Eddie Howe's the favourite to get sacked first. I think that's stupid. But their signings this season, Lloyd Kelly, Vlachodimos, Lewis Hall, no one, really. I think they're going to do decently average. It just depends on if Eddie Howe stays at the club or if he goes and takes the England job, which I think would be very stupid if he did. But then we move on to 7th, and I can't wait to cop this one like I did last year. Manchester United. Yep. Manchester United in 7th. Oh, but we've signed Joshua Zirkzee and Lenny Yoro. Yeah, you signed Joshua Zirkzee and Lenny Yoro. You're building for the future. You're not building for now. You're not building for a top 4 finish this season. You've lost Varane. You've lost Martial. You've lost Van der Beek, even though I'm kind of half these players I'm naming aren't really important. But, you know, Mason Greenwood you've lost, even though he wasn't at the club last year. You're signing Chibo Obi Martin from Arsenal, which I'm very upset they didn't want to fucking stay. You know, that's a future striker that's going to absolutely tear up the Premier League. And I just feel like your squad isn't good enough for a top 4, top 5, or top 6 finish, especially when you've got Europa League football to worry about now. I just feel like Mason Mount's not going to have a bounce back year. Rashford's a lost cause. Casemiro's a lost cause. Anthony's a fidget spinner. Luke Shaw's always injured. Onana's just not great at goalkeeper. But Kobe Mainoo, I think, will have a very, very good season. I'll give you that, Manchester United fans. But I still think you're finishing in 7th. And I don't think Ten Hag gets a sack, because I think what they're doing is what they did with us, with Arsenal, and you're building for the future, which I think is what most clubs should do. But clubs are just trigger happy when it comes to sacking coaches. So United will look good in the next probably 2 seasons, but this season I'm predicting a 7th place finish. In 6th place, I have a team that finished in the top 4 last year, Aston Villa. Now, yes, their squad, honestly, got stronger. You know, their biggest losses being Douglas Luiz to Juventus, that is a big loss for him, and Moussa Diaby as well, which is a very, very stupid bit of business that's just gone on. But, you know, they brought in Ian Maatsen, which is, I think, a very good signing. Samuel Ealing Jr., which if you play Football Manager, you know how good he does become. But obviously the same Football Manager as real life, so not going to do much of a impact this season, in my opinion. Ross Barkley, which I think is a bit of a weird one. Obviously, he played really well last year, but he's gone from getting relegated to playing Champions League football. Don't know about that one. And obviously, Amadou Onana from Everton. Now, the only reason why I think they will finish in 6th is because of juggling Champions League football. And I just don't think that they have the squad to do that, just like Newcastle did a couple seasons back. I think they'll do well in the Champions League. Like, I think they'll get out of the group. But I just have a feeling they're just not going to go much further than that, and it's going to stump them in the league. But yeah, no, that's not a bad finish. Villa in 6th. It shows, especially if they have a good showing in the Champions League, that they are a club of the future. And obviously, Ollie Watkins is still there. So I think there's another big season for Ollie Watkins. He probably should have won the Player of the Year last year, but it is what it is. We move on to 5th place, which unfortunately, for me, it's Tottenham.
Top spur? No. What's that?
Tottenham's big losses. No one. Højbjerg, and that's about it. They signed Archie Gray, and they've brought back in Timo Werner. But I just, for some reason, I think they're going to do a bit better than last. Oh, actually, no, they did finish 5th last year. No, well, they're going to finish in the exact same spot. I think Ange is going to do a decent job once again, pushing for top 4. But I just, in the end, I don't think it's going to be close. And they just don't have a big name striker to go up top with Heung-min Son. So I feel like they're going to struggle a bit to engage Heung-min Son and put him back to the form that he was in about 5 years ago. We go on to 4th place here, cracking into the top 4. I actually have Liverpool in 4th. Why do I have Liverpool in 4th and not in 3rd or 2nd? They haven't made any signings. They've gotten rid of a lot of the deadwood on this team, which I think is good. I think Arne Slot will have a decent season in his first season, finishing in the top 4. I just don't know why, but I for some reason think that my 3rd place team will finish above them. I mean, Liverpool have a great squad. It's an aging squad as well, with the likes of Van Dijk and Salah and Alisson and, players like that. But they definitely have a very, very good squad to even finish 2nd. They're not win the league. There ain't no way they win this league. So it's not a bad thing that they're in 4th. It's 4th. You're in the Champions League. But it is a step down from last year, in my opinion. And that's only because they haven't made any signings. Which then leaves my 3rd place being Chelsea. Now, this might even be a bolder prediction than Bournemouth or Brentford. I don't know why. I just have a feeling Chelsea are going to finish 3rd. They brought in Adarabioyo. They brought in Mark Guehi, not Guehi, but Guehi from Barca. Dewsbury Hall to replace Conor Gallagher, who at the time of recording this hasn't officially left, but he's going to Atletico Madrid. Bringing another keeper in Philip Jorgensen. That's like 6 keepers in 4 seasons. I think that's stupid, but hopefully he does well for him. And obviously their big losses only being Thiago Silva and Maatsen, really. Oh, and also I guess Amari Hutchinson was at Chelsea. He wasn't at Arsenal, but he was an Arsenal player at one point. Yeah, I think they have a decent enough squad. They have Cucu Cucurella. I feel like Raheem Sterling's past his point, but if Enzo can, gel with this squad, and take back everything he said, I think they're in good form to do very well, especially with Cole Palmer and the season he had last year. Only going to build on that because he's got Nkunku back for another season. Hopefully Reece James can stay fit for him. But I don't even know if they want Reece James to stay fit, especially with how good Malo Gusto played last season. They have a lot of players. And they've gotten rid of a lot of players this season, but they've also brought in a lot of players. Even Lukaku's back. He hasn't left yet, so Lukaku's still there. Hi, it's me in post. Another reason why I do think that they're going to finish 3rd is Enzo Mascarez. To me, I prefer Enzo Mascarez to Arne Slot. Now, that might be even stupider of me to say, but it's true. But yeah, overall, Chelsea are just going to, I don't know why they're going to finish 3rd. But if they do, I'd like a medal, please. Thank you. And now we move on to the top 2. It's Arsenal, it's Man City. Who is 2nd and who is 1st? These are the top 2 teams for the past 2 years now. And in 2nd, I've gone City. Reason being is the loss of Julian Alvarez. Now, it hasn't been confirmed when I'm recording this, but it was Here We Go confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, so it must be true. They are losing Julian Alvarez, who, in my opinion, was a very, very big part of that squad. Obviously, they still have players like Rodri, like De Bruyne, who might even leave at this point. We're not sure. Obviously, Haaland. Their defense, Ruben Diaz, Jeremy Doku, Jack Grealish, Bernardo Silva, Gvardiol, Akanji, Edison's still in goal, hasn't left. Foden's there, who won Player of the Season last year. They've got Oscar fucking Bob, all right? And they brought in Savio from whoever he was. Girona? Well, he played at Girona last year, but I think they've gone and signed Savio. Or Savinho, sorry. Savinho is his name. But they're finishing second. Especially with the charges that are coming. They might get a couple points docked off them this season. And this is obviously without the 137, 35, whatever it is, charges that they've got coming. I'm predicting them to finish second. If the charges hit them, they'll be relegated. So it does just depend on that. But in my opinion, I'm going Man City second because I'm going with Arsenal to finish first. I predicted City to finish first last year, and they did. And I did say in that prediction, we will win the next season. Now, we released a lot of players. You know, El Neni, Cedric. To be honest, that's about it. But we have brought in Raya on a permanent transfer, which I think is very, very good. And obviously, we've lost Smith Rowe, which is deep. But we've brought in Calafiori. I will say I've already ordered his jersey. I don't know why. I just think we're going to do it. I just think we're going to do it. We haven't signed a striker, but it doesn't matter because of how well Havertz played as a false nine. And maybe that's why we haven't signed a striker. It's because we are playing with a false nine again, which isn't good. I want a striker, please. Arteta, please. But Calafiori bolsters up our defense. You know, having Raya in net with his backup being Ramsdale, who still hasn't left, and I don't know if he will. And then having Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and either Calafiori, Timber, or Kivior at left back. And then obviously, if you need to, you can swap, chop and change and whatnot with the rest of the defenders. But I think that is a big improvement, especially with Timber coming back for a full season as well. We have to mention that. I think that's a bigger improvement than having Zinchenko in defense and having him in the midfield instead. We haven't really bolstered up our midfield either, which, I kind of wanted to have a decent, backup to a Declan Rice or something, but I guess Jorginho will do. But big season from Saka incoming. Odegaard is going to lead this team to a trophy, and Arsenal will finish in first as the champions. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's my Premier League table. I'm not going to give you top goal scorer or anything. I'm going to save that for the podcast episode, which will be out the day after this, not on my channel, but on the Empire channel, which I will leave a link to in the description. But that'll be it from me. Go check out the Empire podcast. Check out any other videos of mine that you want to see. I don't know why. Just go and watch them. But that'll be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys all in the next one. Bye for now.